Hi, I'm Elaine Pasqua. The COVID-19 pandemic changed things so dramatically for us. Life as we knew it was no longer the same as we were asked to shelter in place. All of us have made tremendous sacrifices, but I want you to think about this. Every time you made the sacrifice, you sheltered in place, you saved a life that deserves to live out its full expectancy, a person who is still here to contribute to this world and make this world a greater place. Doesn't matter how old or how young we are, everybody deserves to live out their life as it should be and not be taken by this pandemic. But I want you to think about how resilient we were. This was a remarkable test of the human spirit. And look at how we were able to create a new normal for ourselves. Colleges didn't skip a beat. They were able to continue to educate their students for the remainder of the spring semester. We saw elementary schools, middle schools, high schools being able to now shift gears and allowing their students to homeschool. Parents who were working were juggling so much as they learned to also homeschool their kids. And we also learned how to social distance from afar. Meetings still continued to happen. People were on Zoom. Companies were still able to continue to keep their businesses moving forward. Many of us were unemployed. Myself, as a professional speaker, it's one of the first times in my 23 years that I was unemployed. But I learned to shift gears as well and become a virtual presenter so I could still bring my expertise forward to my clients. So again, we were able to show the resilience. And I think that this, again, shows the human spirit and how we are able to adapt and how we are able to pivot. And I say 2020 is the year of the pivot. What have you done? Think about all the things that you have been able to change. And instead of getting mirrored in frustration and sadness, I want you to look at all that you were able to accomplish this year. Many of us learned that being home was not the worst thing in the world. We learned to reconnect with our families. We learned to break bread together. We learned that projects in our homes that we've been neglecting for the longest time could now be taken care of and addressed. I really enjoyed being here. I typically fly 63, 65 flights a year. And it was so nice to be home, to reconnect with my friends, to have a blast with my husband, to work in my gardens, to enjoy the projects here. So think about all those things that you want to do. How about the books that you've been meaning to read? How about a new art project? Would you like to play an instrument? Think about all the things that you would like to accomplish that you now have time for. We all have this resilience within us. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about too, that impressed me so much, is all the ways that we became creative in how we could still connect and come together. The power of connection for the human spirit is so important. And it's not just connecting like this and looking at our cell phones. While many people feel connected that way, the virtual world is not the same as the real world. So what we need to do, even though we're sort of connecting virtually, let's do it face to face. Because our brains are wired to look at micro expressions and to get a feedback loop from another person as they're talking. And it gives us confidence to be able to connect and to converse with them. And so how can we do that in this world as we are social distancing? There's always FaceTime where you can be face to face. All the Zoom meetings that we have been able to have, the Zoom parties that we had. My first Zoom party was a blast. We had somebody playing piano out here where I live. We had somebody playing cello for us in Brooklyn. We laughed and you felt uplifted and you felt connected to one another. And so think about all the different ways. The other things that came to us too. Full orchestras were able to come and entertain us in our own homes. We had benefit concerts by rock musicians to help people that were challenged during this COVID pandemic. We saw museums that opened their doors virtually. Hamilton on Broadway came to us within our own homes. So we've been creative. We've been bringing these things forward. What I want you to do too is connect with friends who you haven't talked to in a long time. I have spent several times a week calling old friends of mine who I haven't spoken to in a while, and my conversations usually last at least an hour. And it is just so wonderful because we can talk to one another, we can validate each other's feelings, and you realize you're not alone in what you are experiencing. And so have those phone calls, be able to talk to those people and connect to one another, because that is so crucial. The other thing I want you to do, I am one of the happiest people in the world. Why? Because I have always lived in gratitude. Every day when you wake up, I want you to think of 3 positive things in your life, and I want you to focus on those positive things. I look at the things around me, and maybe it's things that people take for granted, but I often reflect on other parts of the world where people do not live as easily or as well with the same quality that I do. I have gratitude for my beautiful home. I have gratitude for my gardens that I go out to every day. My gardens are absolutely beautiful. It's my form of exercise. I pump weeds. I don't pump iron. And I'm out there every day, touching the earth, smelling the flowers, smelling the fresh air, hearing the birds. So that brings me a lot of pleasure. I have surrounded myself with this physical beauty. You don't have to have a yard to have a garden. You can start bringing plants indoors, or you can plant a garden on a balcony. And again, nothing gratifies you more than seeing things grow and seeing things flourish, because you were the ones that were nourishing them and watering them on a day-to-day basis. I have gratitude for the fact that I have food on my plate. I have gratitude for the fact that every day I can get out of bed and stand up on my own 2 feet, because not everybody can do that. So all those little things, gratitude for my loving family, gratitude for my incredible friends. So be that half full kind of person and look at all the positive things in your life. Now again, things are not the same. Things have been challenging, and this is going on so much longer than we thought. Mid-March, everything started to shut down, and we were told by the end of April, we're going to flatten the curve. Everything's going to get better, and we can live life as normal, or as we knew it once before. Now we are seeing, months later, this is not the same. Here we are in July, numbers are increasing, and we're seeing that we're probably going to have to make sacrifices for quite a few months. But I want you to think about the resilience that you are creating during this period of time. Think about this. You are going to be able to share all of the lessons that you learned with your children, with your grandchildren. This is a piece of history that maybe we didn't want to live through, but this is a piece of history that is going to teach us a lot. I have said over and over again that this is going to give our population, or create for our population, a huge psychological shift. And it's not going to be worth anything if you don't take those lessons with you as you move forward once everything comes back to normal. We're going to have a new normal, but I want you to remember all of the lessons that you learn and carry it through. And I think the greatest lesson that we're going to learn from this is the most important thing in our lives is to be connected to one another, to be able to care for one another, to be able to look out for one another. We shouldn't be selfish. We should be wearing the mask. We should be continuing with our social distancing so we're not spreading this virus to other people. So go into this with a positive attitude and just say, I'm doing this for others, and it's the least that I can do. Because what greater thing is there than saving a life, than helping others? Think about all the healthcare workers that have made tremendous sacrifices, who some are separated from their families because they don't want to bring the virus home to them. All of the people that have been making sacrifices over the last few months. So we can all be in this together. We can all join together, and we can move through this in a positive direction. What I want you to do is think about the little engine that could. Remember that story of that train, and it's going up the hill, and he's going, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And then he gets to the top, and then he comes down. I knew I could, I knew I could, I knew I could. So I want you to think like the little engine that could. And before you know it, you're going to be saying, I knew I could, I knew I could, I knew I could. And then you're going to look at yourself and you're going to say, I got this. I can handle this. I'm okay. I'm going to get through this with resilience, and I am going to be a stronger person, and I am going to be better because of this. So what I want you to also think about is I want you to take care of you. Eat well, exercise, go for a walk. If you're having those moments when you're feeling really frustrated, nothing better than fresh air. And you can social distance with friends if you're feeling lonely. Be outside and stay 6 to 10 feet away from them. Take a walk, go hiking. You can sit across from one another and you can still see each other and feel like you're connected and you're not so isolated. Have a healthy diet. Just have a healthy attitude, and you will find that you are going to get through this much better than you thought you would. So, take care of yourself so we can all take care of one another, and you will say, I got this. I can do it. It was great to be here with you today, and I want to, as we're all lifting up the world through this tremendous project, again, my name is Elaine Pasqua. My website, www.elainepasqua.com. Hang in there, everybody.